called How I Changed My Life and You Could Change It Too. And I'm gonna just give y'all some advice and tips and stuff that helped me along my journey that hopefully could help you along your journey. And yeah, so let's start this off. How you could change your life, right? That's what I think that's what everybody wanna do. Try to do at least. Just try to become a better person or whatever it may be, right? Um so how I changed my life was um it all starts in the mind first, right? It all starts in the mind first. You gotta wanna change. So like it's easy to be complacent and continue to do the same things or say, oh, I've always been this way, right? But you have to be willing to change. Just like life always changing. Simple as that. Life always changing. Nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. You have to change. So when I first started my journey before I actually got into physical fitness, I can't make this story up. I was not the person who I am today. If you look back, if I could show y'all back, which I do have videos and I will show y'all, I'm going to show y'all some videos of me 16 years ago and the stuff that I used to do. Uh, just being young and dumb, but you live and you learn. Just feeling like I was untouchable and I could do whatever I want in life and nobody can't stop me and not obeying the law and all types of stuff. So, but in order for me to make a change in my life, because to be honest, if I would have continued to do what I was doing, it was only one or two routes for me, right? Dead or in jail, simple as that. Dead or in jail. If I would have kept hanging around the same people who was uh, I ain't gonna say they was, I was just making poor choices. Let's just put it that way. The people I was hanging around with, I was making poor choices. And if I would have continued to keep making those poor choices, like I said, I would have been dead in jail. But it all took for me to separate myself from those people that wasn't serving me no more in my life. And the reason I say that, to say this, is because a lot of times, number one, the environment that you live in has a big effect over you. Uh, the way that you've been structured has a big effect over you. The people you hang around with and what they do has a big effect over you. So it took, in order for me to separate from myself from everybody, it took for me to lose it all, right? At first I had to lose it all. I, I didn't understand it at first, and I was kind of mad and upset about it, but it was meant to happen because it made me who the person I am today. And without that journey of separation, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. I'll still be clubbing, partying, running the streets, hanging out till 3, 4 in the morning, just doing dumb stuff, right? And I think, especially when you in your 18, especially before when you turn 18, all you thinking about, you ain't thinking about no uh, improvement. You thinking about partying, having fun, clubbing. All teenagers do stupid stuff like that. That's when you 20, 21, 22, whatever, around those ages, until they midlife crisis hit them, and then they wonder what the fuck happened and how did they get to this point. And that's what happened to me. My midlife crisis hit me. So it took for me to go to jail, to lose everything, and it really opened my eyes. And when I went to jail, I had to really sit down and talk with myself and actually get to know myself. Because like I say, if I wouldn't have never made that change, I would have been doing what I was doing. And I kind of basically explained that what I was doing, not all of it, but I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. So when I make a long story short, when I first got out of jail, I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I was just lost in the sauce. I wasn't working. I ain't have no job. I was staying at my friend grandma's house. It was like 10 of us living there. And if you ain't get no couch to sleep on, you sleeping on the floor. Shit was real. But this lady questioned my reality one day, and she was like, what you doing with your life? And I was like, I don't know. And she said to me, she was like, if you don't change your life, she was like, you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be 50 or 60 years old and you're going to be just like those guys on the corner. And at that point, I ain't really look at it like that. And when she said that to me later on that night, it hit me. I was like, man, I got to get myself together. I'm gonna be old and standing on the corner looking at everybody else. And it's sad to say a lot of people from my environment get stuck like that, and they don't know anything else, how to change, how to do anything else. They just know those four corners, right? But make a long story short, I had to leave my environment to change my perspective on life. And when I left my environment, I met this guy on a beach that traveled, how many places he traveled? He traveled 50 states and 30 countries. And he expanded my mind about the world and places because, like I say, I had just got out of jail and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So I rode my bike all the way to the beach and I was like, man, F this, I'm getting out of the community. I got to do something different. And it just took that one step, that one small, I'll never forget this. This changed my whole perspective on life. Just that one step, taking that leap of faith and leaving the community and place that I always known and going out to a place where I don't know nobody and just venturing out. And like I say, I met the guy who traveled 50 states and 30 countries, and he started telling me about the world and all these places. And I'm like, man, how you know this shit? He's like, cuz I traveled the world. I've been all over the world. And I'm like, for real? He was like, yeah. And I was telling him about stuff, what went on in my community, in my neighborhood. He's like, I know what you're talking about. And I'm like, how you know this shit? He's like, because I used to live in Compton. And that's very rare that you find somebody that's outside of your environment that knows what really goes on there and the stuff that happened. And we made a connection from there, and we've been best friends ever since. And like I said, I never traveled. I never been anywhere. The furthest I ever been was like just local places, St. Pete, Tampa, nowhere far. But I told him, I was like, man, I'm gonna start working out. He was like, you could do it, because the environment, sometimes the hardest part of the journey is the first. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a fact, man. But once you do it and you continue to do it, everything else will change. But like I say, it just take time, and you got to learn how to be grateful, because it's not going to happen overnight. Everybody want instant gratification. We want things. We want the shortcut, right? But back to the story. I told him, I said, man, I'm going to start working out. He was like, you should. And I was like, man, when I come back next time you see me, I'm going to have on muscle, all this stuff. He was like, you could do it. And like I say, where I'm from, people don't take health, fitness, and life is as serious as we should, right? And not to talk bad on them, because it's hard for everybody. You know, you just got to be willing to make a way. And make a long story short, like I was saying, yeah, you got to step out of your environment, because your environment can hold you back, especially when the people super negative and toxic. And I used to tell them things that I wanted to do in life. Like, I was like, man, I want to travel. I'm finna start working out there. But like, bro, that's stupid. Why you gonna do this? You can't do that, you know? And you've been kind of told that your whole life, so you start to believe it. So once I took that step outside the environment, my whole life changed. And now I done traveled I ain't gonna say all over the world, but I done traveled more than I thought I could imagine. I done been to Hawaii. I've been to Kauai Island. I've been to California. I've been to Muscle Beach. I've been to Sequoia redwood trees. I've been to Yosemite National Park. Man, I just been all over the world, and it was all because I made that decision. I've been to Miami. I've been to Tennessee, Georgia, up in the mountains, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Los Angeles. It's a great big world out there. I could go on and on, but now I got my passport. Y'all gonna start seeing. The end of this month, I go to the Bahamas, and I'm going down there to work out with some guys. So I'm gonna start traveling more and just expanding more. But yeah, Moral of the story is to never give up and believe in yourself. Moral of the story, never give up. I don't care how hard it get. We be thinking they ain't gonna never end, but eventually it'll end. And one of these messages I'm gonna leave y'all with, if you're going through a hard time in life, and pray and say, this too shall pass. That's all you gotta say. I promise you, this too shall pass. And whatever you're going through in your life, it'll pass eventually. As long as you keep on trucking and you keep staying positive and you stay focused and you stay disciplined and you stay away from people who ain't bringing you no good, it'll pass. You're going to be like, damn, man, that stuff I went through was simple. You know what I mean? A lot of the things that we be going through, it's just life's always testing us. Life always going to test you, man. And no matter how old you get, you still gonna have to go through it. So it's like a never-ending journey, but you just gotta enjoy it. You gotta embrace the pain, and that's why I'm at where I'm at today, because I learned how to focus on myself, and I know how to take my power back instead of letting people on the outside opinions affect me inside. So if you could control the inner you, and then your outer you will become so much better. I promise you. I can't make this up. If you can control your inner world, your outer world gonna become so much better. And you gotta make sacrifices. You gotta be dedicated. You gotta, sometimes your friends gonna say, hey man, you wanna come party? Sometimes you gotta tell their ass, nah man, I got stuff to do. No, I know you wanna go party, but hey man, no man, you boring man. You don't wanna come party. All you wanna do is go travel. Like, bro, why would I go spend, now that I look at it this way in life, so I used to spend large amounts of money in the club, $900, stupid stuff, just young, dumb, not even thinking. And a guy used to tell me, an older guy, he used to say, bro, what is you doing? He like, why don't you invest in a business? I'm thinking my money gonna last forever. I think I'm untouchable. I'm gonna make this money back. I ain't gotta worry about nothing, right? And all the money that I spent in the club, shoes, cars, clothes, rims, music, I could have been traveled the whole world. What I'm saying is, I was just stupid. Stupid. When I tell you that was the dumbest shit I ever done. I wouldn't be working with nobody right now. I'd be chilling somewhere. But if I would have smart, I should have utilized all that money to travel, man. And I wasn't even thinking about traveling. And I'm talking about, I ain't gonna tell you how much I was making, but I was making a lot. And at a job, you definitely not gonna make the type of money that I was making in a year. But I just made poor decisions, dumbass decisions. But you live and you learn, and you learn from your experiences, and you take it with you. And then hopefully you share it with somebody who going through or doing the same thing that you used to do, and give them some guidance and be like, hey man, look, this is what you should do with your money. Or hey man, you should go to this place and see different places across the world, because like that stuff, traveling keep you young. It keep your mind young too, and growing and evolving, because the human brain always want to learn. So when you go to these different cultures and different places and different people, nobody knows your name. That's so beautiful. You go to a place in your community, people gonna call your name. You go to whole nother state, country, or whatever, none of these people know you. You mysterious to them. So it's just a beautiful thing, and that's what I learned. Like, traveling is a great thing. I advise anybody to travel. Oh yeah, that's a good one too, man. Forgiving yourself, that's true. That's a hard thing to do, but yeah, forgiving yourself. That's what I had to do too. Yeah, it helped me out a lot, man, especially when I was in jail, because like I say, I ain't really have, when you in jail, you really don't, you not, it's less distractions in jail, because you don't have all the vices that you have in the outside world. So like, you don't have, yeah, you could get cell phones or whatever the case may be, but you just don't have as much as privilege in jail that you have on the outside. So like, prime example, I'm gonna give you a prime example. My little nephew, he locked up right now, and I told him, I said, nephew, I'm gonna tell you like this. I said, bro, I said, you in there for a reason. And I said, best piece of advice I could give to you while you in there is to utilize your time, man. Utilize your time. Yeah, it worked. It worked in my favor because, like I say, it made me who I am, man. If I would never went to jail, if I wouldn't went to jail, and I would have continued to do what I was doing, I probably would have been dead right now. I wouldn't be here right now because God only gonna give you so many chances in life. And like I say, I made that decision that I ain't going back, and I did 3 months, and I was very fortunate that I ain't do 3 to 5 years. I said, man, I ain't going back. I'm done with this, and I never looked back, and that was one of the best things that ever worked for me in my life, was not looking back, because a lot of people just go back to what they know. And one thing I learned is, if you continue to do the same thing over and over, you'll keep having the same experience until you learn your lesson. And life will keep teaching you in so many different ways that you will wonder, well, why I keep getting caught? Because I thought I wasn't gonna get caught. I'm like, man, they ain't gonna get caught. I'm gonna switch it up this time. They ain't gonna catch me. I'm gonna do things different. Man, I was right back in jail within the next couple months. But he said it is hard for you to consider someone to be a complete lost cause. But yeah, man, you just gotta enjoy the process. You gotta trust yourself too. You have to trust yourself. You gotta listen to your voice. I'm not saying that you can't get opinions from other people, but you gotta listen to your voice and what your voice commanding you to do. And the reason I say this is because a lot of times, like for me, I know what I need to do, but you could tell people what you're gonna do, and they could talk you out of what you're gonna do and say, oh, it's dangerous. Why are you doing that? Why are you going here? And I learned to don't tell everybody what you're doing. That's very important. Don't I mean if they want the best for you and you trust them and stuff, and you feel like you could share it with them, tell them. But for the most part, most people not gonna want to see you. They don't want to see you happy because they not happy with themselves. So for me, somebody that come from my place, me telling them that, hey man, I'm going to travel here, travel there, I'm speaking a whole nother language to them. They brain can't even fathom it because they never been out of their neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I was just basically saying. But hey, I gotta get back to work. I've been on here about 17 minutes. I'm gonna start going live more often. Yesterday I went live. I ain't do the full video, but I did a total of 350 pull-ups. I did 150 weighted push-ups with 25 pounds. I did, out of those 350 pull-ups, I did 25 weighted pull-ups. What else I did? Push, pull. I did something else. Oh yeah, and I did what's up, fam? I did 25 weighted dips. So that probably was like a total of 5, what that is, 150, 350, that's 525 reps that I did. And then like a lot of times what I do is on my, especially like today, I'm not gonna work out as hard. I'll probably just do some core. I'm gonna do that off camera, but like on my rest days when I'm not working out, what I do is I do long walks. So like last Sunday, I did a 10-mile walk. It was like 732 calories, and it was like 23,000 steps. So like my off days, my rest days, I'm either gonna walk or do cycling. So that's a great way. Yeah, weighted dips for the win. That's a great way to help you stay in shape, and you don't necessarily have to go above and beyond. Like, you ain't got to try to be Superman. You just got to start. And you can start with calisthenics. To anybody who trying to get in shape and lose weight, I recommend them starting with calisthenics. That's the best way to go. Calisthenics that's how I started. I started with calisthenics to build my body up, right? And once you start building your body up and you learn the techniques and the movements, then you move on to weightlifting. But if I was new and I was just training, I wouldn't just jump to weightlifting, because especially if you don't know how to lift, it's easy to get injured with weights. And them injuries over time, they take a long time to heal, especially shoulders, back, your legs. And you don't want to get no injuries. You want to avoid injuries, less injuries. So calisthenics is less impactful. and it's not as hard as on the body as the weight. So like I say, I highly recommend to anybody to start doing calisthenics if you're gonna start. But having them, oh yeah, that mind and body connection is on a whole nother level. And I'm gonna say that to say this. So like for me, when I train, I usually don't tell people what I do, because when I tell them what I do, they be like, "Yeah, right, you crazy." Eh, It's just because I got that mind and body connection. So like I've been training. I've been an athlete all my life. I've been working out all my life, so it's just first nature to me. But I kind of steered away from it. But I got back on track. So, people see me working out, they like, bro, you a maniac. But it's not that I'm a maniac. It's that I discipline myself so bad, so I don't become the person that I used to be, right? Because it's easy to go back to the person who I used to be. And like I said, you got to make changes. He said, I hurt my back in a couple weeks ago, but I didn't quit. I'm trying to heal and stretch, but I still work out. So if you hurt your back, I don't know what part of your back that you hurt. If it's your lower back, your lumbar, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. They got a machine called, most gyms don't have it, or most places don't have it. It's called a reverse hyper. And if it's your lumbar, it's a reverse hyper. Make sure you use that. That will help fix your back. And just use that and stay away from exercises that require using a lot of your back, especially with like squats and deadlifts. I will avoid all that. But like if it's your upper back, I will stay away from pull-ups. It'll be pretty tough if it's your upper back, because you your upper back you use almost in every exercise. You'll mostly have to do legs, or you might be able to do push-ups, but a lot of those movements you use back. So upper back, but yeah, upper back, yeah, that ain't no joke, bro. Upper back, you really can't do nothing with an injured upper back. But if y'all new to the channel, make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping a lot of wisdom. I'll probably drop some videos here shortly, and help y'all how to get how to get on dieting, because a lot of people don't know how to diet or where to start. But you just got to be willing to learn. That's all. And like nowadays, it's easy to get in shape for me, because you got social media. Like it's just in endless amount of information to learn. All you gotta do is go on Google and say, hey, how do I get in shape? And it'll basically tell you the things you should eat. So it's pretty easy. He said I can still do pull-ups. It's push-ups that hurt. I don't know why. Because push-ups, you still use your back, but we still strong. Nice videos. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, the push-ups, you still using your back. That's why it hurt. But pull-ups, to be honest with you, if I was you, I would just, I don't know, bro. You're going to have to work around it, because when you injure yourself, it take a long time to heal. I had end up injuring my rotator cuff, and it took probably almost a year to heal, but I still worked out. But I wouldn't do a lot of movements that was requiring a lot of shoulders. So I wouldn't do like pull-ups. I did deadlifts. I did push-ups. I wouldn't do no heavy benching or nothing like that. And then over time, the body will heal itself. But like I say, you got to let it recover. But I'm out of here. That's 23 minutes of my time. Peace and love. If y'all new, make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe.